Hey y'all, this is Tyler with Bear Family Farms. This is a little nanny kid I found this morning, and she was hypothermic. It was about 3 degrees last night, or maybe a little colder. We had a lot of snow and ice come down, mainly ice, and even though they have brush piles and whatnot, they sometimes still do this. I mean, she is only a few days old. So when I found her, I immediately grabbed her. I brought her inside. She was showing some seizure activity, which includes she was stiff. She would roll her head back, straight back, where her forehead would touch her shoulders or back. Her eyes kind of shook, and their tail will either go stiff or kind of wobble, and then their limbs will get hard, just like a seizure in any other species for the most part. But so with that, I have found that if they start seizing, sometimes they won't come back from it, but sometimes they will. So I got her in, I immediately turned on my heater, and our heater here is just one that we've gotten from Tractor Supply. I think we got it on sale, but we call it our miracle heater. I mean, it just works really good because it comes out at the bottom. You can make it really hot with that one, or you can keep it at that one, and it still stays pretty hot. And so I have that going, and so what I immediately do is I get her in here as fast as possible. I cover her up like this and create a tent so that the heat can stay on her and around her, and then I take just an old hairdryer I've had forever, and then I put it on warm, not hot, because I do not want to burn her, and then I put it on high. So it's warm high, so she's got heat coming this way and that way she can get as warm as fast as possible. And normally I'll have her belly facing this because it puts out the most heat, and I want her internal organs to get nice and warm faster than really anything else, because that's the most important thing in my opinion. So after that, depending on how bad it is, it'll take a little while. You just want a gradual heat increase from her. But so after that, once I get her to about 100 to 102 degrees, then it's safe to feed them. You do not want to feed them if they're any lower than about 100 to 101 degrees. Because their body isn't warm enough, they can't digest it. So I tried bottle feeding her. We feed whole cow's milk. I've found that the formula does not sit well with babies, gives them orange diarrhea, and it can cause them to become dehydrated and die. So we use whole cow's milk that we just get from the store. I tried giving her a bottle, but she's very, very weak, very, very dehydrated. But you can see that because when you look at her eyes, they're let me see here. They're pretty sunken in. But so that's a number one indicator there. I mean, she's kind of pale when I look at her membranes because she was shivering literally all night long. But she's coloring up now quite well. So she was chewing on the nipple and trying to get some milk, but she was obviously very exhausted. And so I went ahead and took the executive decision, and I went ahead and tubed her. And this is just a red catheter tube. You can get them at your vet. You can order them online. And so I tubed her, and so you just place in the mouth. You want to measure from her mouth to like kind of right by her shoulder blade, kind of like that. So she's going to take most of that tube. And so I'll do that, and then I take this bowl of water that I have sitting over here, and I kind of do the bubble test. So after I get it in to know that I have my placement right, besides listening to the end of this and make sure I don't hear breathing sounds, because you do not want this in the lungs, because you're administering lots of liquid. So if you get it in the lungs, you'll potentially drown them. So after I have it in her body, I take this big end, I set it in here. And if I do not see bubbles while she's breathing, then I pretty much know I'm not in her lungs. So then I go ahead and take my 60 cc syringe, and then I'll fill it, which every 30 cc's is an ounce. And I don't want to overload her right now, so I gave her 2.5 ounces just to get her going, kind of get that blood sugar back up. And so I gave her about, 80 mils. And so I tubed her, and then I went ahead and I have a big jar of honey, and I went ahead and put that in her mouth as another sugar boost, just to kind of give her that boost to keep her going. But we're looking good so far. I mean, she's got a long road. She almost died. She was on death's door. So this is kind of what we do with babies. I have found that putting them in plastic bags and putting them in hot water isn't always the best, because if they do get wet, it's hard to make sure they don't get chilled after you take them back out. So this heater, double heater combo thing really works well for us. And again, that's just a regular heater that you can get at Tractor Supply, and then a good hair dryer that you can have a warm setting as well. So you don't want to do hot because you'll burn them, and you definitely don't want to deal with that. So, and then just a rectal thermometer as well. So that's kind of our go-to things to try and save babies that are hypothermic or have any issues like that if they're just, too cold or anything. But hopefully she'll get some rest and she'll make it. I'm feeling hopeful about it. I mean, she just wants to sleep, which is completely normal. She shivered all night and then almost died. So we'll see what happens, but that's kind of what we do with our babies.